Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very cool knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Skelton Bladeworks and Tuya knife Caladan, or at least that's how I'm going to pronounce it. This is a really, really nice design. It has a lot of functional elements combined with a lot of Jim Skelton elements. And I really like that. I think the best thing about this knife is the overall quality, like the machining quality, execution to cost ratio. I will link this down below. I don't know if it's still available or if they plan to make more. I will link where you guys can find this down in the description so you guys can check it out. There are a ton of versions of this knife. And I was honestly really surprised to see how well they were priced. So really cool stuff. Thanks to Jim Skelton. I feel like I just stuttered over something. I don't know. We'll find out. Thanks to Jim Skelton for sending this in for me to take a look at. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. It's really, I mentioned this in the unboxing, it's really surreal to have a folding knife designed by Jim Skelton come across my review table, because I was watching Jim Skelton's videos as just like I was just like a knife enthusiast, like watching his YouTube videos like a decade ago. So we're in a weird spot right now. You know, it's kind of a Twilight Zone kind of thing. Let's go ahead and measure it. Overall length coming in at 8.5 inches. Yeah, good size. Really like that. Maybe just a hair shy of 8.5 inches. Blade length is coming in at 3.65. Cutting edge is coming in at 3.5 inches. Really nice. A lot of people are going to like that. How about some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rad Model 1 and the Ontario Rad Model 2? This is absolutely the same overall length, or it seems to be very nearly the same overall length as the Rat 1. How about up against the Demco AD 20.5? How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. I don't know what happened there. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Benchmade Bug Out. How's the action on this guy? Funny you should ask. Yeah, of course, right? If it's designed by Jim Skelton, of course the action's going to be over the top, ridiculous. Listen, there are a lot of knives nowadays that you can get in various price ranges that have fall shut action. There is obviously, anybody who has handled knives in various tiers knows that there is a huge difference between a knife that's just falling shut because it's loosey-goosey and the blade is heavy enough to get it to, right? And something that is very, very, very consistent, right? Everything is so just like all of the surfaces are just perfectly polished down. The weight of the blade plays a role in it, right? But everything is working consistently together, right? Controlled. It's falls shut, but it's not like it doesn't feel sloppy. It feels like the surfaces on the inside are perfectly consistent. There's nothing in there that feels like, you know, it's out of place or it's inconsistent, right? Sometimes you get it to where it's real loose up here and then it gets tight down here, or vice versa. No, this knife simply falls into the closed position as soon as you disengage it. There's also no double clutch, which doesn't surprise me at all. The button, or the flipper tab can be light switched or it can be push buttons, right? And the detent, I think, is tuned really, really well. This is exactly the type of action that people generally like to see with knives like this, and it is no surprise at all that this was all probably laid out perfectly by Jim Skelton before he had Tuya manufacture this. So that's just, it's really cool to see that all be executed, in my opinion, perfectly. So that's nice. Let's go ahead and do carry profile thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's really not all that thick. In fact, it's actually a little bit thinner with some nice contouring, which is a nice touch. This will carry nicely as a fairly large, not, I know, Cold Steel fans, but not a large, not in the sense of your, you know, 4max, but, you know, as a fairly large knife, it will carry pretty easily. What are we looking at for materials? In this case, we're actually looking at silver twill, which is cool. We don't see enough silver twill in the knife world. I like silver carbon fiber. I'm just shocked that we don't see it as much. It doesn't surprise me that this is an option with a Jim Skelton knife. There's actually a bunch of different variants of this that were available, starting with just like jigged titanium. This is a little bit more, but not that much more. I think it's appropriately priced as like an additional, aesthetic option. But there were a bunch of different versions. So if you want to see all of the different versions that were available, you can check out the link down in the description. But we have silver twill. The entire frame is titanium. Backspacer is titanium. Pocket clip is titanium. This is a full backspacer and milled clip, by the way, right? And then we have, can we see? Oh, what a little cherry on top. S90V. Hand rub, satin finished S90V for the blade. That's real nice. Just a bunch of little cherries on top. Where is that stupid scale? I can't. It's right in front of my face. All right, we're good. Don't worry. The weight on this knife comes in at 4.62 ounces, right? Not a perfect ounce and inch ratio, right? But only if you care about that. The truth is 4.62 for me is really not all that heavy, and this thing is balanced right behind the pivot, which means in hand, it really doesn't feel, it actually feels fairly light for as large of a knife that it is, right? So, this is right in the general territory of what I like to carry. It's about right there in the right weight range of what I like to carry. Your preferences might be different, right? But there you go. Do what you will with that information. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use in this channel. Sorry, the new T8 bits, there's not much there. The pivot is a T8. All of these screws here, the screws for the scales and the pocket clip and probably the two screws underneath for the backspacer, those are going to be T6. Jim, I don't know why you wanted T6, but not the biggest deal in the world, right? It's like I always say, as long as you have quality tools and a place to put your hardware, you should be good to go. A couple extra screws and what I'd consider to be minimal, but the benefit here is that you get these scales, which I'm happy to trade that out. I think this looks great. I'm happy to deal with a couple extra screws. So yeah, we're good to go there. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness real quick. So that looks like 140 to me. I'm usually wrong though. Let's just try and get that zeroed out. Okay, 147, right? Not massively thick, but thicker than if we're gonna call 135 middle of the road, right? Okay. Meat and potatoes time. This is a good looking knife. It's also extremely ergonomically comfortable. There's a little bit of a swell here, right? It's also contoured. The edges here have been beautifully knocked down, and the curvature of everything has been meant to accommodate for the shape of the human hand perfectly. You could get your finger up here a little bit. It's a little bit, you gotta pay attention, right? There's enough that sharpening tool has been enlarged enough that you could get up here if you wanted to, and the jimping extends out far enough that it complements this position well enough if you really, really want to risk it. Me personally, I'm gonna keep my index finger back here. You're a decent ways from the initial cutting edge, but there's absolutely nothing in the cutting path. So using this knife has been an absolute joy. Sorry, I'm getting some crud off of the blade from earlier. But carrying and using this knife has been an absolute joy. I've always said that I like blades where the tip curves down. I find that to be a little bit better than tips that curve upwards, just for what I like to do. It makes it a little easier to do a draw cut, right? If you're trying to drag the tip through something. The edge, down behind the edge, reasonably thin. I mean, I think it's very similar to other, knives that I enjoy using. There's a flat that carries out, I don't know, what do we say here? About 70% the length of the blade. Nice long swedge. The blade looks good. I like how it looks, and I've always said that if you're gonna go satin, a hand rub satin finish looks better than a belt or machine satin. I think you had a few different options for the blade. What I appreciate here is that he went with S90V and not M390. M390 is fine, but my God, I don't know about you guys, but after 14 years of it being on everything, I'm kind of sick of it, right? So S90V is great. I like S90V better. It's not as corrosion resistant. Toughness, depending on who you talk to, is either better or worse, right? It obviously depends on how it's heat treated, but its potential for edge retention is quite a bit better, right? So the trade-off there is fine. It's also not nearly as hard to sharpen as I had originally thought. I've been using it on the bug out and resharpening it or touching it up periodically, and it's been fine, right? It's not the easiest thing in the world by a long shot, but not bad. I just like S90V better, and I just feel like the sense of value, because it is a more expensive composition, as far as I understand, than M390. Probably not a ton more, but it is generally a bit more expensive. I like that Jim put his logo on the pivot and absolutely nothing, there's nothing else except for the logo here, and it says S90V, which means you largely just get to enjoy the overall aesthetic of the knife, which is something that people almost universally agree on. Make the billboarding as minimal as possible and let us enjoy the knife, which is what we, you're not buying the thing because you like the logo. You're buying the thing because you want the thing, right? So it's nice to be able to look at it without seeing a huge paragraph on the blade. Microtech, sorry, God, that was a weird cough. Sorry about that. But yeah, everything looks good and it feels good, right? It operates really well. For some reason, Jim didn't want to put a clip for lefties. I've been saying this a lot lately. We got to get clips. We got to get lefty clips, right? I know we would have had to make a little spot over here. It looks like this has been nested into the scale material, right? So you would have had a pocket here, which I don't think is that big of a deal. I just think we should be catering to lefties a little bit better here. But anyways, access to the lock bar is wonderful. Look at that huge carved out area. And he's even got, some texturing there to make it real easy to disengage. It's exactly how that should be, right? Right here, drop. The other cool thing is that the flipper tab hides under this area here, right? Makes this whole area a little bit softer and a little bit easier to manage around ergonomically because you're not dealing with such a narrow little. A lot of times with these flipper designs, if they have, spots where there's a little bit of a choke up position or whatever, the flipper tab is so narrow and pointy, it just is this huge peak that you have to work around with your index finger. Now this is still a peak here, but it's a lot easier to work around, and I think it looks better, right? Having the flipper tab disappear right here under the frame, I think just looks kind of nice. Oh man. That really was an accident, right? But I don't know which is worse, which is more cringy, if I had done that intentionally or if I had done it accidentally, right? It's just nice. And it also gives this a little bit of a unique look, right? It's not like this is, a knife profile, a blade profile, or handle profile that we have never, ever seen before. But it's just enough different that it's a little easier. I mean, this is just unique enough of an aesthetic that it's easier to remember than a lot of the generic, stuff that the bug out you can remember, right? But how many other knives have come out that have the exact same profile, right? You know what I mean? It's nice to have that lock in too. While you are a decent ways behind that, the initial cutting edge, you are absolutely locked in, and there is no way your index finger or any part of your hand is going to run up the blade unless you're holding it with your foot, or I don't know. It's not going to. The lock-in is great, right? I don't feel like I need additional texturing to hang on to it. It's great. The little swell here is perfect, right? The tail end, which looks a little funny, this looks like a little, almost like a hornet body, right? But it works. You can get a full grip on the guy and still have plenty of room back here if you wanted to choke back or whatever. It's just great. Manipulation, everything is just great. The silver twill looks incredible. I love how this stuff looks. It's just really nice. A little bit more dressy, sure, than regular carbon fiber, but some of us like that. It's nice to have so many different options. So if you don't like it, fine, and you can get something else, but I like it. The lanyard thing is appropriately minimal. It's just barely there. You can work a piece of 550 or some little tiny lanyard in there if you want to. He gave you an option. Outside of that, it's really just the back spacer, and the pocket clip is set up for a medium depth carry, which is fine. Personally, I think the pocket clip is a little bit long, but that's a preference thing, right? I think it probably could have been about here. And for me, I think I would have liked it a little bit higher, but it's not bad where it is. And again, it's milled and knocked down. In and out of the pocket is a breeze. There's a nice ramp under here. Plenty of good retention. Everything, even the jig titanium, which is a little textured, it's going to be easy in and out of the pocket. It's just the shape of everything, the contouring, the pocket clip design, all of that's going to be fine. I like the versions with the overlay scales, right? Not the exposed frame lock, because I like being able to put my fingers wherever I want and not worry about excess pressure causing a failed flip. That being said, Yeah, if you push down on this, it does make it harder to flip, right? So I think probably the better versions are the ones with the scales, because if you're pushing on the scale, obviously you're not putting excess pressure on that on the frame. We have a steel lock bar insert that doubles as the over travel, which is doubly backed up by the fact that there's a scale covering it here too. We also have, this runs on bearings, I don't know if I said that. We have a stop pin located in its traditional position. There is plenty of shouldering in both the open and closed positions, which is fine. We have perfect, absolutely perfect centering, no detent lash, no lock stick. There's a natural, sorry, let me flip it again and give you a natural lockup percentage there. This one is it looks pretty early, but let's look and see where it's actually engaging. Can we see? There it is. So the mark there, I'm going to call that 25%, which is plenty, right? No blade play up, down, left, or right, not a hint. No lock stick, no double clutch, no pivot lash, extremely smooth and consistent in here. And I would say a medium heavy detent that works perfectly with the flipper tab. This is a really nice design. It's no surprise. I mean, you know, Jim is a knife enthusiast. He's a collector. He's somebody who uses his knives. He's a knife maker. And he's a knife reviewer, right? The combination of all those things should yield a good design, and that's what we have here. This is, it doesn't surprise me at all that this is something that's cool. And people say, oh, even if it was crappy, you wouldn't say anything. I definitely would. I'd be like, Jim, this is crap, man. What happened? How did we arrive at this point? No, this is great, right? You don't have to believe me. Other people have done reviews on this. Other people have these things, right? Tuya knife already has a good reputation for manufacturing quality, right? So you take that and you combine it with somebody who knows what they want when it comes to, you know, action, ergonomics, all that stuff. Of course. I don't see any other outcome, right? This is great. I like it. The best part about this is that the base price for these things comes in at $250, which I think is totally fair. This one here, I think he said was $285 for silver twill. So like 35 bucks more for the silver twill. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I just reviewed a knife just like yesterday that was made by Bestech that had, I would say, 60 to 70% of the style and, you know, just the overall, you know, cool factor, and definitely when it came to like machining complexity, maybe 70%. They wanted like, you know, close to $400 for it. And I was just like, no, not at all. Absolutely not. That's too much. I think this is appropriately priced, right? It feels really good, you know, because like I'm always going to say exactly what I think, right? But sometimes, you know, when I'm like, sometimes it's harder. Like when I know I have to say like, hey, I don't agree with this, right? Even somebody that I personally like, it's somebody that I get along with in the knife world really well, or developed a relationship with, or it's a company that I really like. Sometimes it's hard to be like, listen, I don't like this. I've had to do that a few times with Benchmade and with Wii, and I like a lot of their stuff, right? But I've had to be like, hey, listen, I like the company, but this product that you put out, I don't really like so much. So it's really nice when it's somebody that I do get along with really well, you know, also is putting out something that I think is legitimately good, right? The price is great. The design is great. Functional. It's got cool factor. You have choices, right? I wish it had a lefty clip. I wish the clip was a little shorter, but that's kind of meh. And I wish it was T8 screws. That's it. That's all I can complain about. This is cool. If you picked one up, I'm almost certain that you like it, right? I like this, right? If you didn't pick one up and you're interested, I can only hope that they decide to do more, because this is very cool. This is going to go on my most recommended knives playlist. I absolutely recommend it. I think the vast majority of people, outside of lefties, will really like this, as long as it's legal to carry in your area. Thanks so much to Jim for letting me take a look at this. I honestly don't know if he intended for me to keep this, so I'll have to message him and see if he wants this back. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.